Well, my wind wasn't working, and it wasn't because the wind was calm. I didn't have it hooked up right. In order to get the wind vector, you need three things: the ingredients, GPS, magnetometer, and OAT. And I have all three of those things. Problem is, I don't have all three things on both units. When I set it up, I never thought about the wind vector because it wasn't a thing then. My top unit, which is used for an attitude indicator, has the OAT and the GPS on it. Bottom unit has my magnetometer on it. I didn't put OAT on both because I would need two probes. You can't split one probe in parallel between two units. It'll give you unreliable readings. I didn't wire it for magnetometer on both because I didn't really think I needed it. Mostly on the DG is where it's valuable, and so it just wasn't in my realm of thought at the time. GPS I put on both. I don't remember why. Anyways, I need to take my magnetometer and split it in parallel between both units. I pulled the harnesses off the back. I'm pulling the back shell off one right now. Basically, I'm going to make a jumper to go from one connector, my DG connector, over across to my AI attitude indicator. And then those will be parallel based on the connection that I have downstream. So I'm going to have the signal coming in from the wing, from the magnetometer, and it's going to split in parallel to both units. Okay, so here is the harness, or the 3-wire cable that goes to my magnetometer on my DG. What I need to do is splice into these 3 wires right here. I could depin it, but I don't really want to. I'm going to add a window splice right here, and then take this other wire, 3-wire shielded cable, and attach it to there and run it over in a loop to this other connector. Let me show you. This is a pretty trick way of doing it. This tool is meant for stripping Tefzel insulation, really small, fine wires. So instead of actually stripping it at the end, I'm just going to strip a small portion in the middle and make a window splice. Basically, you push this button, this thing gets really hot. You can melt the insulation and just slide it back and forth, strip however much or little you want.
So I was wrong. I did have to depin the connector just so I can slide it into this tool. I'm going to heat this thing up and I'm going to strip back a little bit. Not too much, maybe just about a 1/4 inch or so. Turn it, do the same thing. Pretty good. So there we go. Just got a little window splice right there. So now I'll solder to that and then put some shrink tube over it.
So here are my splice connections. I realized, I was thinking through it, and then I double checked the manual. It shows there's only 2, because you got basically a power ground and a signal. They call it a power input, output, or a power return, and then a signal. So you want the power and the signal, or the ground and the signal, but you don't need the power output. So I covered that with that blue shrink tubing, and then I got my window splices there going up to this cable, and then it's gonna pin into this connector, and the shield is gonna tie into this ground. Mag input, power return, power out. And then you can see right here, there's a little note, number 8, for parallel operation, connect pins 6 and 10 and shield the second AV30. Do not connect pin 13. That was the blue one that I have. Okay, so I've got the jumper that I built now running from this connector up into my harness, down to this side, and I've got it terminated to, well, I don't have it terminated to anything. Where is it? Oh, here we go. So I've got the shielding terminated to this ground wire, which I just need to jump into this ground, and now I just need to pin these and populate them in the connector. I got my pins all populated. I'm just gonna ring it out real quick to make sure it works. That's good. That was pin 10. This is pin 6. All right, good to go. Put it back together and test it out. So the back shell is going back on, the strain relief clamp in there. You can see the red silicone friction tape. I've just got a zip tie holding it for now. Tighten that up and trim off the end and put this thing back together, and I'll have a harness again. All right, now that these are all back together, here's something that I did today that I struggled with in the past. I engraved on each back shell connector which unit it goes to, AI, DG. I did it both sides as well. so I can just keep track of them. And also I stack them up to make sure that both the D-sub connectors are going in the right direction. I got both my grounds and bonding strap on the correct side. What I did, I jumped these two bonding straps to a single point knife disconnect, and then I've just got that hardwired to the panel, so it makes for easy, quick disconnects if I need to do service work like this. So yeah, these things are pretty much ready to go. I just need to make one last connection to that ground cable, and that's just shielding the one new wire that I put in. So yeah, let me do it and I'll put it back together and it should be good to go. All right, it's done. The shielding is connected to my ground. Everything's put back together. I need to just connect these to the units and turn it on. Let's see what happens. Oh, I forgot what it's like working up inside of here. Ooh, there's my bus. I haven't looked at that in a while. All right, I gotta get all the way up there, and you can see there's the DG on the bottom and the AI on the top, and I had to disconnect some of my pitot static lines. This is that ground cable I was talking about with the knife disconnect, and I've got that just coming off of my grounding block right here. These things are awesome. Yeah, gotta put the phone down. All right, I got everything hooked up again, and go to the install menu, and I can check to see if I can get the AvMag menu, which tells me that everything's hooked up right. And I want to make sure that serial, there we go, AvMag, I want them to match. Install serial 4 AvMag on both of them, so that's a good sign. It means it's hooked up, and I can go to the AvMag install menu, install, and make sure that everything matches my lower one. So I should go into there, go to all the same menus, check all my angles, and everything is pretty close, within about half a degree, I would say, on the pitch, and the rolls spot on 0.1 degree. So that's good. Save. Yes. Next thing I have to do is the calibration. All right, so that's pretty good news. Aside from having to do the calibration, I don't love it. You got to go out to a compass rose and 12 different points, you know, on the rows you got to point it. So you line it up with north, hit the button, line it up with the next spot, hit the button, line it up with the next spot, hit the button. I do it with everything running and all the lights on. So I taxi over the compass rose, engine on, all lights on, so it's the most possible interference. And yeah, I'm gonna go do that, but I think it'll work. So good news. Thanks for watching. Hope you learned something. I did.
uAvionix calling my name. New updates always up in my game. Wind vector finally here. Just need to splice a few wires, then I'm rocking new gear. These AV30s aging like fine wine. Can it get any better?
The final test. We're in flight just above 3,000 feet. Finished my mag calibration, and now I've got my wind vector. Look at that. True airspeed 144, ground speed 136. So what's the difference? Roughly 11 knots is what it's calculating. It should be whatever the difference between the true airspeed and the ground speed is. So we got about 12, 13 knots is what it's showing. And yeah, that's amazing. Super awesome. Super stoked. Great feature. Love this thing. God, it just keeps getting better and better.